Hello and good afternoon, everybody. It's my great pleasure to host two ChemLuminary Award winning local sections, Silicon Valley for Paving the Path Initiative, and also Midland local sections. They have been very enthusiastic. It's like an outstanding new local sections award they received. In general, I am at this point organize this local section leadership summit. A little bit about my background. I did my PhD from Syracuse University. I was mostly doing protein engineering and directed evolutions. And after that, I moved to UCSF as a postdoc and mostly doing protein design. And also, I am at this point involved in designing proteins for drug delivery or some biomedical applications. So the way my ACS local section journey started, it's pretty much when I was in my grad school. I joined the Central New York local section, and they have been involved in several volunteering and outreach activities. And I started being there at different locations. Particularly one of my very favorite activity was a Zoo Boo program. We generally used to do that just before Halloween, at Rosamond Gifford Zoo. And that was really nice. We really got like a good success with that event. And then I became a district delegate at large of Central New York local section. And I think that's the time I slowly, got more and more involved in different ACS outreach activities. And then I joined here at UCSF, and at that point, I went for the National YCC, and currently I'm in the Local and Regional Affairs Subcommittee. But anyway, I'll definitely talk about the structure of our organizations. So a little bit about like what we generally do. So our YCC started in 1974. It's about like 50 years. We celebrated our 50 years anniversary last year, and it's a joint board council committee. So we generally do a committee preference form when actually people show their interest in joining the national committee. We have a committee preference form we generally open up like in March or so, sometimes like March to July. That's the timeline. And after that, during the fall meeting, committee on committees make recommendations about those like who they want to be in the committee. And ultimately, the ACS president and the chair, the board of directors jointly, they make the decisions. In general, it takes a couple of months, and we generally get the decisions by end of December. So that's the timeline pretty much. Right now, we have about 30 members in our committee, and out of them, 20 are like full members, and we do have associates. So the full members are like for 3-year term, associates like are 1 year each. So, and also in terms of the age limit, we generally have like a 40 years at this point. But the way we generally choose the term is like a 2 full member term, pretty much. So 2 3-year terms, that's like total 6 years. And initially you will generally get like 1 year appointment, like, associate. So that could be 1 or 2 times maybe. So I would say it's about 6 to 8 years, a total journey, if you can think that way. So this is our current structure. So we do have 4 different subcommittees. We have a global engagement who are involved in national meeting programming. We have a local and regional affairs subcommittee where I am. I generally, as you see, organize the local section leadership summit. The beta is the chair. Dan is working on the newsletter. So that's another role we do. And also in terms of the regional meeting, we're talking about the Western regional meeting, but there are several other regional meetings as well. So we have the representations there. Annabelle generally takes care of that part, and we do have like some of the events like trivia night and all this. And we also have like a governance interface and outreach subcommittee, who generally makes all the appointment for liaisons for ACS technical divisions. And at the same time, there are several YCC awards. So today we are talking about the ChemLuminary Awards, but there are several other. So Geo actually takes control of all this awards part. And we do have a communication subcommittee. They generally advertise our events on different social media platform. At this point, we do have a very active social media on like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, where we generally advertise our events. But of course, if you are interested in, you can fill out a form and then we will take care of that part. So that's pretty much it. We were talking about our YCC National Committee representation. So we do have about 50% from academia. We see about 30% from industry, but we also have like around 10% representations from government and law. So now I'm going to talk about our strategic plan. So our vision is like to make sure the younger chemists ultimately flourish in their career and they do some amazing job. Particularly, we are thinking about like three pillars here. Like one is empowerment, support, and advocate. So in terms of the advocacy, we do have the ACS YCC representations in different committees other than our ACS YCC, because there are several local sections, as you are aware of. But at the same time, we do have representations like chemists on the Hill. Like, for instance, my colleague, Annabelle Lolinko, has been a part of it. And also we do have some of the representations outside ACS because, we do have IUPAC National Academy and Young Observer Program. So our national YCC members also go and represent our executive committee. We also have another pillar, development and advancement, where we are going to talk about the awards part because our YCC generally supports the younger chemists with several different awards. ChemLuminary at this point, you know that we are awarding three different categories at this point. Outstanding local sections, we do have outstanding local section event and outstanding new local sections, but otherwise, we do have a SIBA Travel Award. That's about like $1,000 award to attend some of the ACS national meeting. It doesn't have to be national meeting all the time. It could be regional meetings. It could be some green chemistry conference. As long as like it's an ACS meeting, that's the most important thing. We do have Priscilla Carney Jones Scholarship. Generally, we give like a female undergraduate chemistry major students like some financial support. And something I think is very close to my heart is like Leadership Institute. I think that's been an absolutely amazing opportunity. We generally provide like about 15 students and we bring them to the Leadership Institute, which generally happens in Atlanta in late January every year. So that's like, I think, a really great opportunity for the early career chemists who really wanted to hone their leadership skill, and they will understand at that point that some of the conference where they go present their research is a bit different, because they will meet like some of the people directly from the governments on like ACS board of directors. And finally, I'd like to talk about the community empowerment. So that's very important in terms of like the virtual connections. And especially Leadership Summit is certainly one of the good examples. But at the same time, we do have some international growth going on because I was talking about that there are several international chapters, like we do have in Africa and Middle East, we have Asia Pacific, we do have like in Europe or South America. So, like people are interested in there, and we also like have some of the programs. And also, like I mentioned, that this video will be there on YouTube so that people know exactly what's going on. So then I would talk about some of the support which we can offer as our local and regional affairs subcommittee to the local section YCC. One of them is like a local section grant. So we do have like about $500 grant we generally offer to the people, like especially who just started their local sections, and we do have a local section starter kit. So that's a really, really great resource. If you follow that step by step, it just like has almost everything to know like what you need to do. There are event planning and everything. So the one important thing, if you are in a local section, but like sometimes I think people get confused that they don't know which local sections they are part of, but you can write a zip code and that's going to tell you which local sections you are in part of. And then you can approach the like local section chair, to know that whether they have like an existing LSYCC or not. If yes, then of course, you go approach and you be a part of that existing LSYCC. Is going to be much easier for you. And if you don't have the LSYCC in the local sections, that you can start your own local section. And this is the information. So you just download the starter kit, like I said, and it has everything, like step-by-step procedure, what to do, and apply for the grant, and ultimately win ChemLuminary Awards. And here it's the advertisement part. So if you really wanted to advertise your event on our social media platform, please fill out the form and we're going to take care of it. And then I'm going to talk about our ChemLuminary Award winners. So the East Central Illinois local sections won the Outstanding Local Section Award this time. They had several industry tours. They had like $4,000 Travel Award, and they have been very active. Also, Silicon Valley local section, they received that Paving the Path initiative, like creative event local sections award. I think that's their third time they are doing it. They had like 7 campus watch parties. Natalie is going to tell us more about all those things. And also Western Regional Meeting has been like really very successful, and that Silicon Valley has been a part of it. I really know that because I'm from California local sections and one of the organizers of this Western Regional Meeting. And last but not the least, the Midland local sections. This year, their new local section award, and they partnered with chemical engineers, and they awarded 6 University of Michigan students for Dow company tour, and they had like some other facilities and all those career stage networking. But definitely, I'm not gonna talk about Siley and Kalani. They know much more than what I know, so that's why they're here. They're gonna talk about that. And finally, I'd like to say that please get involved. Please encourage your section people who are not interested, but you can just like go tell them that, what's our mission, visions, what we really wanted to achieve. And then you can certainly attend several ACS national meetings, regional meetings. Regional meetings are definitely a good start. Of course, the size being much more smaller. And also YCC sponsored awards. There are several events we can help you to like organize in our regional meetings, different regional meetings. Like a 2026, there are 2 coming up at this point. I remember, like one is going to be MARM, Mid-Atlantic, another is going to be NORM, I guess. So these are really good. And finally, I'd like to mention that if you are really interested in going for a national committee, there is a committee preference form from March to July. Please keep an eye. And we generally get like 60, 70 applications or even more. And, like there are only 2 or 3 spots, sometimes even less. So it's like a very highly competitive, but of course it's a great opportunity. But, in my experience, I certainly would say that if you are involved in several local section activities, the most important thing is the serving the society and the community. That's the most important thing. As long as you just like, take some brave and bold step, get more and more people involved, have the energy in, I think that's the best way, you can serve the community. So we have the social media platform here, or like website. You can go to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have all the stories there, like a lot of other informations. And I think, these are like some very important resources for you to know more about it and get more and more involved to YCC. So I think that's where I stop. And I would like to introduce Natalie from Silicon Valley local sections. She is chair-elect now, and I think she already served as a counselor 3 times now. I mean, like she has all the experience, like, handling the local sections. Particularly, she knows everything about Silicon Valley. I guess most importantly, she is in the local section activity committee, the national committee, so she knows, and I think I can learn a lot from her, being a part of a local and regional affairs subcommittee. Uh, but on other note, that she is a regulatory affairs consultant at this point with her extensive experience in drug development and regulatory affairs and quality assurance. She did her PhD from Stanford in 1979, and then prior to be here in this position, she moved to Syntex and working on new synthetic approaches to prostaglandin, very organic synthetic stuffs, and large-scale peptide synthetic preparations. So like wonderful mix of like a very hardcore synthetic organic chemistry and at the same time biochemistry. So I would like to introduce here Natalie McClure. She was going to talk about their success stories on Silicon Valley local section. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for the nice introduction. As you can all tell, I'm not a member of YCC. I kind of termed out of that a long time ago. But the members of YCC who, from our section, who put together the program I'm going to talk to you about weren't able to make it today. They had some other commitments. So I'm your stand-in. Before I go into my slides, I did want to just mention, since you suggested that people should be looking at hosting a YCC event. The fun event that we did at the Western Regional meeting that YCC hosted was a trivia night contest. And we had 80 plus people. The room was supposed to seat 80, and we had people sitting on the floors and kind of hanging out of the back of the room doing a trivia contest where some of the questions were a little bit like a chemistry exam. Potassium permanganate, what's the oxidation state of the magnesium, the manganese in potassium permanganate? So that was a pretty technical question, but many more of them were things like what element, what letter of the alphabet does not appear on the periodic table? And I'll let you think about that for a few minutes, and then I'll tell you that the answer is J. Q does only provisionally. Q is in the name that's provisionally given to the transuranium elements that when they are before they're accepted, if they have a 4 and then they've got a quadrilinium sort of name, and then once they've been identified, they get renamed. But J is not in any of them. It was a huge success. People, every time they would put up a slide with the question, and it was multiple choice, and a little counter would count down 60 seconds, and then the answer would be put up, and people would go, yay, yay, we got it. It was just a enormous good success. And we gave out prizes to the winner, the top 3 winners, but we also raffled off. Everybody who attended got a raffle ticket, and we had enough swag. Some of it really cool stuff, like coffee cups that have caffeine on them, or a periodic table blanket. There was a clock that was a periodic table. Other stuff were more traditional swag, water bottles with the YCC yoga logo on them and things.
Mhm.
But almost well, at least 50% of the people who attended left with something. So that's always kind of fun. Okay, with that, now let me go to what you really wanted me to talk to you about, and I will share my screen.
Yep.
I have to send you a request.
Yeah, I already
So
allowed.
let's see. All right, now I can share. Great.
Yeah.
I want to just go through. So good. You see my screen. I want to just go through what we did with our paving the path initiative. Let's see if I can make this advance. There we go. So these are the two younger members of our section who are involved in a lot of things, YCC and WCC and a lot of others. But Madeline Radlauer, it was the chair of this event, this Paving the Path event that I'm going to talk about. And Jigisha Shah has also been very involved. And as you can see, they're both very involved in our section as well as in the particular event. And our Paving the Path initiative, or PTP, we've done it for several years now. It really started in the very beginning, back in the COVA era, when we realized that we wanted to provide some help for people who are attending community colleges to make the transition from community college into a four-year chemistry college, and realizing that it is sometimes more challenging than people anticipate it would be. So we started with a DEIR grant, and so that's an important thing that I think you should all think about is ACS offers a lot of funding opportunities for new ideas. DEIR is one. This is through the LSYCC, the local section committee. They have IPGs, Innovative Program Grants, which are up to $3,500. The DEIR grants, I think, are up to $3,000. So it's real money. It's enough that you can really put something on. And we got a DEIR grant for this purpose, did a pilot program in 2020, found that it was reasonably successful enough that we wanted to take it forward. But in 22, the way we had it structured and early was a very intensive. It involved identifying community college students to be mentored. So you needed a student and a mentor and a series of lectures, and it was just more labor intensive than we could do on a routine basis. So we switched over to a hybrid model, which we have been running ever since, and that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. So my slides are a little redundant, I guess, but we started with the 5 mentors and five mentees and 5 mentors. But then with pandemic and everything else, you all remember what that would look like. So we adopted a hybrid model where we have a panel of professors, graduate students, and individuals who are in industry, who all started their career path in a community college, because this is really targeted at the community college students. So these are all people who've successfully navigated the move from community college to four-year college to graduation to working out, or most of them working. And we work on trying to cover both professional development, mental well-being, work-life balance, and then helping with the academic support and the personal growth support of transitioning out of community college into four-year college. What we have found to be successful, we piloted it in 23 and then did it in 2024, and this is what gave us the ChemLuminary that we're here to talk about, was we set up this panel, 3 or 4 professionals, hosted pizza parties. Feed the chemists, they will come. It's generally true. We had 7 different campuses, 7 different community colleges in our section. That's 7 out of about 15. So we have plenty of room to grow. At each of these colleges, we set up a Zoom call. We had an ACS member attend. We had some faculty members, or the chemistry club at the community college would sponsor it. We would bring in pizza and then participated in the panel discussion where everybody in the school was zoomed into the call, could ask questions, could listen to the overall discussion. And then we also had ACS professionals or ACS members in the room to continue the dialogue over pizza. We start the dialogue before the call, continue the dialogue after the call, and bring ACS swag, which is, again, pizza and swag. All you have to do is listen to what was a pretty interesting talk. And by doing this, we grew to 7 colleges. We had some people who only attended virtually. It was open to students who were either not at one of those 7 colleges or just couldn't make it to the conference room. So there were 43 there, but 128 people were present in these different rooms. You can see some of the pictures of them. And by doing it in a hybrid model, we were talking earlier about geography and demographics. Our local section covers about 300 miles of distance between these colleges. And Cabrillo College and Hartnell College are in Monterey County and San Benito County, so they're way far south of Salinas. Some of the others were in Palo Alto, and some of the others were up in San Bruno. So, we could cover a wide geography. Students didn't have to drive. The ACS members didn't drive because people went to the schools that were close to where they lived or worked. And we had a really successful event. It really integrated and allowed us. Don't focus in these slides very much on the discussion of the panel, but it was, as I said, some professionals, some professors, some graduate students answering questions of how did you make that transition? What happened? Trying to address a little bit. I'm sure you've all heard of the concept of the imposter syndrome, where people always feel like they aren't really good enough to be there. Well, you are all good enough. They are all good enough to be there, and that's what we're trying to do. And it really emphasized and helped us form connections. Our section formed connections with the community college chemistry clubs. Since doing that, I do a lot of the outreach for our section, and I've gone back to those community colleges to do, when they have a science day, to bring families and people onto their campus to do science. We go as well and help support the chemistry club with their hands-on experiments. So it's been a really good session. And then, as the slide says, we built on that at the regional meeting that we've talked about a fair amount today. So I think that may be my last slide. Oh, yeah, we'll skip that one. We are a very active section. This is the poster that we prepared for the ChemLuminary Award when we were given this. When you get a ChemLuminary Award, they ask you to bring a poster. And so this just kind of covers some of the things our section does. We are a fairly big section. We're fall in the ACS divides sections up by size, and we're in the large category and can be quite active. And I'd be happy to talk at length on any of these programs, but I think I better stop talking and let the Midland group talk a little bit about what they've done. So thank you very much. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you so very much, Natalie, for such a fantastic presentations. Really learned a lot. And we will have certainly the question and answer floor open after Saidi and Kalyani present their success stories. But here I'm going to talk about this Midland local sections. They have been very successful past years. They have been awarded that new Outstanding Local Section Award, and it's going to be a team presentations. Saili Bot and Kalyani Jangam will present their work there. So to introduce Saidi, she did her PhD from Michigan State University in polymer chemistry and then moved to Minneapolis as a polymer formulation engineer. And then again, I think she wanted to get back to her PhD place and then started with Dow. And right now she's a process engineer there. And I'm going to talk about now Kalyani. She did her PhD from Ohio State University and she did on chemical looping system on this material and process development. And then she moved to Dow, where she is a research development specialist, exactly where Sally is working on. So it's, I think, much easier for them to plan all the local section events. That's one of the secret I want to tell you to win the ChemLuminary Awards, I guess. So it's all yours.
Thank you. I will start sharing. Let me know if you can see
Yeah.
Yep.
screen. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you for the introduction, Sagar. Kalyani and I are part of like Midland Local Section YCC, and we would like to thank Sagar, you and National YCC for giving us this opportunity to share our story. Since you already introduced us, we can skip this slide. We couldn't attend the ChemLuminary Award function that happened this year, but we would like to thank National ACS for this ChemLuminary Award that we received as an outstanding new local section YCC. For those who are not familiar, probably everyone is familiar now. We are in like Michigan, but like literally middle of the Michigan, our local section, and we are very close to Bay City and Saginaw. And thus our area is also referred as Tri-City area over here. And we are about like a couple of hours away from Detroit. On this slide, I have our LSYCC board members for 2024 and 2025. Pranavi and I are co-chairs of our Midland section YCC. Kalyani is our outreach coordinator. We have Allison, who is our networking coordinator, and Erica is our webmaster. Then we have Arpita, who is our secretary, and Alejandro joined as an outreach coordinator in 2025. So in terms of revitalization of local section YCC, so our section was dormant for a few years, and Pranavi, with help of chair-elect of 2024, decided to revitalize this section in 2024. And when she reached out to me, both of us decided to do this together. However, at the time, we didn't know where and even how to start. So at the time, since other local ACS sections such as diversity and inclusion, Women's Chemist Committee, they were active and established. We reached out to them for help, and we had few meetings with them, and we ended up collaborating with them on an event. We also collaborated with Dow's employee resource groups for a couple of events. Again, since we didn't have any active YCC members at the time, These collaborations helped us to promote YCC in person. It also helped us with like expenses, and as well as we learned a lot from their leadership. Uh, but soon, Pranavi and I, both of us realized that if we want to grow, we need more support. And then we reached out to Kalyani, Allison, Orpita, Erica, all of them, and they were excited to join our board to kickstart this YCC local section. Um, once we um, Once we are comfortable, we did a soft launch of YCC with a trivia and conmaze event. And then we decided to go outside of our comfort zone and organize one outreach event. That one is lab and plant tour for University of Michigan students. Since our ChemLuminary Award highlighted this event, we wanted to spend few minutes to go over what this exactly event was. So this lab and plant tour event, it was geared towards chemists at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. We wanted to give these students an opportunity to come and visit industrial lab and a plant. Thus, we collaborated with Mid-Michigan AICHE group and Dow to give this student tour of Dow plant. In terms of pre-event planning, we had to organize quite a bit of meetings to plan and organize this event. And we also advertised this event at University of Michigan as well as internally at Dow to get professionals for networking session. And in terms of event day, it started with like lunch and learn session where we went over chemistry of different products over lunch. And then we had tour of lab and plant. After that, we had a networking session at MSU St. Andrews Place where we invited professionals from industry. And these students then got opportunity to talk to them, ask questions about their day-to-day job, or some of them were also invited from the plant tour so they could talk more about particular process. And after the event, we had our discussion about learnings and feedback that we received from students as well as networking professionals. This is a picture from a networking session from lab and plant tour. To summarize our YCC 2024 accomplishments, we had a total of 6 events and YCC members grew from none to 70 in that year. This was our first year after revitalization of like YCC. Now in 2025, we were established YCC. So we started with defining goals. And one of the goal was to increase our participation outside of Dow and DuPont. In this year, we also assigned designated roles for our board members. We had outreach coordinator, have networking coordinator, as well as like webmasters. Then we started having monthly meetings to discuss past event and to plan future events. We also discuss budget allotment during these meetings. And we also talked about new ideas to increase participation in events. This year, we frequently connected with other Midland's ACS committees, DNI, WCC, and MMTG, as well as with board members. In terms of funding, so we did apply to the LSYCC grant that Sagar you mentioned before, and we received LSYCC grant last year as well as this year. As an outcome of 2025 planning, we hosted students from Central Michigan University, Michigan State University, Saginaw Valley State University in two different events. And again, these two events were in collaboration with Mid-Michigan AICHE group. We also had two networking socials, summer and for fall. We had one rock painting event that was in collaboration with SWE. This year, YCC helped organize two technical sessions at Fall Scientific Meeting, which was combined with Central Regional Meeting that happened this year in Mount Pleasant, which is like 40 minutes from Midland. And this organization was in collaboration with WCC committee and other ACS Midland sections board members. We have one upcoming event, Girl Scout for high school girls. And this is in collaboration with ACS Midland section committees, DNI, WCC, with SWE, as well as with AICHE. On next couple of slides, I have pictures from some of our events. This is a picture from rock painting event. This is a picture from like the plant tour. These two pictures are from the networking event that happened after the plant tour. And this is a picture from a fall social networking event. So far you have seen like success of these events, but we have faced our own challenges, and Kalyani will now go over them.
Thank you, Siley. So now that you all seen these great pictures from our past events, in order to reach this stage, being a dormant local section, we had this need to build our own network. When we initially started collaborating with these local ACS sections or DAO employee groups, we did observe a strong participation from DAO employees itself. So we realized that we need to diversify our network and grow it as much as we can. So we started making connections with our different companies and their own employee groups and asked them if they could help us promote our events internally. And that actually helped us to improve the attendance. So we went beyond Dow and DuPont, which are the major companies in the area, and spread across Corteva, Lubrizol, SKS Ultron, so on, where started showing up to our events. The events that caught the most attraction for attracting these newcomers were happy hours, picnic, outdoor activities such as conveys, trivia, rock painting, and so on. So that basically helped us to get a dedicated members who were then willing to volunteer to more formal events such as networking, then like for high school student volunteering events, or even attending seminars and so on. And we also got this huge support from a local university facility, which is as earlier Sally mentioned, MSU St. Andrews, and some of the vendors who allowed to host our events at no cost, and the location were really convenient and accessible to all. Focusing more on the site tour and networking, which was the highlight for our section. We did have our own learnings from the process. Now that we have accomplished 3 site and networking tour, we first foremost give a big shout out to MMAICHE, who with their help, we were able to organize such a large event, like out of our comfort zone, as Sally mentioned. But after the first event of that site tour, we had some key considerations to take in account going forward. First and foremost, which was event scheduling. We need to understand what are their exams, or is there any holidays that we are not aware about? So we need to be in a very close contact with student representative or the teacher who are with whom we are coordinating. The second thing is having a contingency plan for cancellation. So we started putting out a waiting list or contacting multiple universities at the same time to ensure that we have a good attendance for the event, with so much of planning going behind. And third, which is way more tricky, that compliance with the site safety regulations. We need to make sure that we select an area of the site which would be of an interest to students, as well as it is safe to show, given all the manufacturing complexities. Also, we need to make sure that the professionals attending the networking session are of interest to students' major. So with these learnings in mind, we are stepping into 2026. And Sally, if you go to next slide, we have these 3 goals in mind, and we are going to plan our future events around them. So we will continue our network building through the informal events I mentioned earlier to strengthen the relationship. But at the same time, we would like to bring our section to a bigger platform by having a stronger representation at local conferences, career expos. We would also like to organize seminars featuring experts from industry and academia, be it local or outside of Michigan. So making sure that they get exposed to the respective expertise. We are also planning to collaborate for a larger scale and impactful event extending beyond Midland area, hopefully near Detroit or Ann Arbor area, where University of Michigan students can participate in those. But we are also going to consider customized events. So I talked earlier about the events focus for early career professionals, but we would like to have more volunteering events where high school students, graduate or undergraduate students can come and participate. So for high school students, be it like a mentoring program, as Natalie mentioned, or more like a demonstration right at the school. For graduate and undergraduate students, we'll continue exposing them to the industry, manufacturing, as well as research directions. So with this, hopefully we see more and more participation coming along the way, and we continue to grow. So I'll hand over back to Siley to wrap up the talk.
Thanks, Kalyani. So in our opinion, these are like some of the key factors for our success. Establishing goals is definitely the key one. Then we had divide and conquer approach all like 2 years. Collaboration was like very important one. Timely check-ins helped us to be on track for most of the event. Then support from ACS and local community, as Kalyani mentioned, was also helpful. And then learnings from our challenges or past event was another one. Succession planning is something I have it here. So we like in order to grow, we need like new perspective, new leadership. So for 2026, we have new chairs. Kalyani and Allison, they will be serving as YCC co-chairs for Midland section in 2026. And we will be, Pranavi and I will be around if they need support. With that, I would like to wrap this up. We do have like, when we started, we created this ACS YCC Midland Gmail. So if you have any questions or suggestions, please send them our way. So thank you, Sagar.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Saili and Kalyani. It's just like so much to learn and such a fantastic discussions. I think we really, really liked the talk. Yeah, I mean, we just like are so impressed pretty much because it's very hard to know exactly what's going on, like in terms of the local section YCC. And I think the most important thing is like especially about my situations, like I generally attend like some of the outreach events, like which our California local section organizes. But otherwise, like when I am mostly involved in my research and everything here, like academia, it's just like I also don't get like much opportunity to know all those detail from an industrial perspective, right? I mean, our national YCC has like a government and law representations, as I showed in the slide. But in general, we can get a chance to meet them like 2 times a year at max, because that's the national meeting when we actually like have an executive committee meeting. We talk about it. But otherwise, it's very hard to. So these are all like really great perspectives, which we learn. Natalie, if you have any questions for Saili or Kalyani about this events, like, or you wanted to ask them something.
I just want to tell them I'm very impressed. I'm actually a Michigander also. I
Oh.
my bachelor's degree at University of Michigan, so and I have a lot of family still in the Traverse City area, so I come to Michigan fairly frequently, well, at least twice a year. So I
It was
always
great
watch.
learning and meeting from learning from you and as well as meeting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go to most of the ChemLuminary Awards meetings, that the national has. Midland section is a force to be reckoned with. You are really, really remarkable. So that's marvelous. I do have another call, so I'm going to have to drop off. The other thing I was going to say is you are so smart to work on succession planning. That is the detriment. People will get excited and do something, but if you don't keep the baton
Yes.
moving, it all falls apart. So
Yeah,
congratulations on
since
that.
since we were dormant for a few years, we realized that we need to have that sort of going when we leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Natalie. It
Thank
was
you
nice
so
meeting
much.
you.
Nice meeting you guys too. And Sagar, we should talk offline because our sections collaborate on a lot of things. And
Certainly, yeah.
it would be great to
We
continue
would
that.
love to see a collaboration across two ends. So we would be also looking forward to from any communication from you guys.
And that post COVID, it's hard. There's been a lot of things that have changed, not all for the better, but doing these kinds of calls and able to talk and see each other and is
Yeah.
one of the better things that has come out of that. So, when we do paving the path this year, it would be something we could reach out to your group, and there's nothing that couldn't be, no reason why, except it
Yeah.
would be late. Your pizza might be happening at dinner, late night snack.
Late night.
That would be exciting for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I really do have to run, so I apologize, but nice
Perfect. No
meeting you.
problem,
Take care.
Natalie.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Again, thanks, Saili and Kalyani, for organizing all those stops. Such a fantastic presentations. I'm sure all those people who didn't register will definitely get a chance to
Okay.
see the recording, and you also can check it. I'll definitely contact my colleagues to ensure that it's like uploaded in our
Okay.
YouTube channel. And like I said, sometimes I see like a lot of people just check the offline thing, but I think the major goal, and that's something I really wanted to share, of course, because our ACS YCC Leadership Summit, like, we generally do it like about twice a year, something. So in general, we have one event like during summertime, like,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the schedule, but around like a June and July something. And the
Mm-hmm.
other one is like, like sometimes like late October, beginning of
Mm-hmm.
November, something. And we generally invite some of the people who actually have been very, very successful in their local sections. Then like they went up in their career. For instance, like
Mm-hmm.
the last time when I organized Leadership Summit, the video is still there in the YouTube channel. I invited two president-elect candidates, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Christina Boudreau and Dr. Don Mason. So, like they were having this presidential elections, and then pretty much we also organized Catalyze the Vote. That's also
Okay.
a virtual event when we generally invite them, like, people can ask questions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, when I went to Washington, D.C. for the national meeting, we had the
Mm-hmm.
executive committee meeting. We're thinking about the ideas that,
Mm-hmm.
like what to do in terms of the professional development and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, I certainly do have an idea because now we have the ChemLuminary Award ceremony because we just like had that during the fall. We
Mm-hmm.
know that. So it's like, it's going to be very, very helpful for a lot of young people because if
Mm-hmm.
I just like go and tell them that, oh, you know what, I do have local section starter kit. Please follow that, read that, you are going to get success. I don't believe that it's going to happen like that. It's a
Right.
similar thing. You are a researcher, you are just like following the protocol, like step by step, and that doesn't guarantee that, you are
Mm-hmm.
just like gonna get success. So, I felt that that's would be like a really great opportunity. People can directly ask you the questions that, and I think Kalyani did a fantastic job on that aspect. Of course, there are like not a lot of people, otherwise I would ask them to, talk to Kalyani about like how particularly other challenges she faced,
Mm-hmm.
which she probably
Mm-hmm.
did not include in this slides
Mm-hmm.
and would give them like a more idea on this. But I think they will contact you later or they will figure out that's how
Yeah.
to solve them. But it's glad that you are doing such a great job. If you have any questions for me, would be happy to answer. If you have right now, it's fine. Otherwise, I can answer those like over email. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's um, my privilege to host you, and thank you so very much for all your work. And I wish all the best. You continue the great things what you are doing.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. It was like good to hear like other section